especially just with my own health journey, I got really into cooking and making my own food. And currently now being in Hawaii, it is so easy to get local food. Like I get most of my produce from local farmers or, friends that have trees producing. And
welcome to the Controlled Health Podcast, where we discuss topics on whole body wellness so that you can take back control of your health. Hello and welcome to my channel. If you have not been here before, my name is Andrea and I am the host of the Controlled Health Podcast. Just to keep some housekeeping, as always, this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. If you do want to change something or implement anything, please talk to your healthcare professional. First, I want to apologize. I've been long gone. I had a lot of things happen all at once. I moved into a new place. I had some personal things happen, and I had final exams coming up, which I passed. So you are looking at a future nutrition therapy practitioner. I should be done in September and I'll be able to take on clients then. For now, I will just be educating you on the things that I have up here and giving them to you. In today's episode, I got to speak with an old friend. Her name is Sabrina. We used to work together when we lived in Florida. And I mean, we killed it. We hustled. It was it was a crazy time. But she had some health issues and we would talk about them. She had some skin issues, some hormonal issues, and some other health challenges. She was a really hardcore vegan. So in this podcast, we'll get to talk about how she found healing from removing those labels that a lot of us get sucked into, even myself. Whether it's carnivore or veganism, it can really actually hinder us from healing in certain ways. So she found healing through removing labels, and she also found freedom in that. Also, Sabrina has studied herbalism and even done some health coaching in the past. But right now, she's really focused on her herbal skincare products. I've not tried these products yet, but I'm wanting to so bad. All the reviews are amazing, but not only that, she sources them herself. I'm just really excited to share what she has to offer, but also just supporting a friend and helping others take back control of their health. I will link her website and her Instagram down in the show notes, so if you guys want to reach out to her or try some of her herbal skincare products, that will be available to you guys. Now, to the podcast. All right, this is my lovely friend Sabrina. Can you tell us where you're at right now? Because I know you've traveled a lot and been everywhere. And where are you ended up right now?
yes, so yeah, I have traveled a lot and I'm currently in Maui on the North Shore of Maui. And yeah, it feels like this is my home.
That's awesome. What I wanted to actually ask you about your van life a little bit because I mean, we were friends at the time, but you and I think your friend Emily, right?
Right.
Were traveling in a van together. What did you do? What did you see? All that fun stuff.
Yeah, so that was just a beautiful journey and we just fully went into the van life experience and really just spent time enjoying it, enjoying meeting people, enjoying the beautiful places we went, getting involved with the van life community, and just really seeing the world through those eyes of living in a van. And I feel like traveling that way was such a beautiful way to see more than just flying or, even just driving through. It's like we were in places and we stayed in places for sometimes like 3 months. Like in Washington, we stayed for 3 months, and also in Sedona in Arizona, we stayed for 3 months. And I feel like it was really beautiful to like stay in one location, and we just got to really meet so many beautiful people. And actually, when we were in Sedona, we started cooking out of the van and we called it Greenie's Garden.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That is so fun.
Hmm.
Were you able to like host and like feed other people, or where did you get the food? Did you go and shop, or like were there
Yes.
places that you could like markets and stuff like that?
So yeah, we would go get the food. It was all organic, and our friends, they were doing a band. So when they would have events, they would let us kind of like pop out a greenie, kind of like a little pop out truck, you know? So we'd like pop up in front of where the concert was and serve food. And then by doing that, we also got clients to meal prep for. So it was just such a cool way to kind of share what we love to do in the way of cooking for people.
That is so cool. I didn't know all of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we both share the love of cooking and hospitality. That's
hmm
definitely I love having people over. I love cooking for people and just, it's food is I think it's lost a lot of its secrecy, and
mm
we've lost a lot of our honor towards it. And so when people who actually like honor the food can prepare food for other people, you can really taste it and feel it. Because we're all live organisms, we all have energy, and we all have microbiomes. And when we're able to actually touch our food and feel our food and grow and pick it from the soil, it's such a different experience. So
Right.
where do you get your food now? Like, because I know you're in
Yeah.
Hawaii.
Right. And yeah, just to kind of go off that, I feel like food is such a love language for me. And especially just with my own health journey, I got really into cooking and making my own food. And currently now being in Hawaii, it is so easy to get local food. Like I get most of my produce from local farmers or, friends that have trees producing. And hopefully in the future, I'll have my own fruit trees. And yeah, so almost like 90% of what I eat comes from Maui and comes from food that's grown here. And there's this really awesome shop called Akoa, and it's all organic, all local produce from their farm. And that's like kind of the main place we go to get our produce. And there's just so many beautiful health stores here. And it's honestly very inspiring to be here because there's so many entrepreneurs that are making their own food or selling their things at markets. So it's really easy to be healthy here. And I was actually telling my friend the other day that I just feel like the quality of life here is so high. It's just so easy, I feel like, to be healthy here. You're in this, not even just the environment being beautiful, but just the food. I feel like it's a lot easier to get local produce here. And of course, there's still, processed stuff here. It's not all healthy, but it's just so much easier than, I've traveled a lot. And of course, you can find the markets and the produce and farmers and things. And also, I just feel like a lot more people are passionate about that lifestyle here, which is really cool to be around.
Yeah, well, since moving to North Carolina, I mean, I found more farms and stuff, but it's more, monocrop or
Hmm.
conventional kind of things. I did find a local farm where I've been getting most of my beef, but there's not a lot of produce around here, and I really don't like buying produce from the grocery store just because I don't know where it's coming from, or if I do, it's probably been sprayed with a bunch of stuff as soon as it enters
hmm
into the States. And they came out with that new antifungal thing, and they're not labeling it, and it's just you just never know. And I just really want my own land, so
Yeah.
I can know exactly what's being put on my food. And now I wanted to talk about how we met and stuff. And so we were working at a restaurant called Third Wave. They actually source a lot of local food, right?
Yeah, they're really good about getting quality ingredients, which I really love.
Yeah. So I'll kind of explain a little bit about Third Wave. So it's an outdoor kind of like a beach restaurant. It was right down on Flagler Avenue in New Smyrna Beach. And there was a little cafe upstairs and then a garden out back. And oh, I miss it talking about it.
It's such a cute place,
It
honestly.
is. It's a cute place. And it just, people were there to have a good time. So a it was always a good time. But Sabrina and I think you were a host at the time,
Right.
and I came on board, and we were busting our butts, cleaning tables and sitting people and answering phone calls. And because I mean, this restaurant is a very popular restaurant, so
Right.
I mean, the wait time was like 2 hours, and it was it was incredible. But we soon became baristas and food runners, and we were just having a blast there. But I remember I remember when we were working, you kind of had some health issues, and can you kind of explain what you were experiencing and kind of what you did? I know you tried acupuncture,
Hmm.
and just kind of explain that because I don't really know everything.
Yeah, yeah, I would love to. And just kind of looking back at that time, it was such a different life that I lived. I was definitely still in health and kind of still on my health journey, which it's never ending. And yeah, just living that like fast pace, just working in that environment, like I think was also causing stress to my body. Like I was running off coffee until 4 p.m., not eating, just like boom, 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 running
I
around.
think
Like,
that's what set me off, and I mean, I
right.
became bedridden, and I
Hmm.
mean, we were working like 14-hour days, and we
Yeah, we
were
would do
there from,
doubles, like,
and then we'd go out to the bars, and like
right.
it was just not that we would get like totally wasted, but it was just nonstop, and yeah,
Right,
we would
right.
barely eat. Go
Hmm.
ahead, sorry, I just
So yeah, no, I feel like that was a big part of it too, just that life of working in that environment of running off coffee, not eating, like that in itself was messing up my hormones. And yeah,
yeah.
when we met, I was having hormone issues because I was on birth control now probably like 8 years ago, which like so blessed I got off of that when I did. And my hormones were still adjusting when I met you and they were still trying to balance themselves back. So I didn't bleed for 2 years after getting off birth control. And like you said, yeah, I went to acupuncture and she was giving me Chinese herbs. And I was also vegan, which I feel like kind of was putting me back as well with my bleed and bringing my hormones back in balance because I just wasn't getting the right nutrients. I feel like I wasn't eating the right nutrients that I needed for my body. And, I feel like when you are plant based, you can definitely do it, but you have to do it in the right way and like get a lot of certain nutrients, like iron, for example. So I definitely was lacking in nutrients. And yeah, I noticed when I had the acupuncture, Chinese herbs, my period started to come back. And I was like, great, yeah, I can be vegan and I still have my period. This is awesome. And then I noticed when I stopped getting the acupuncture and taking those Chinese herbs that my period was gone again. And a big thing that my acupuncturist and even you were telling me was to eat meat and especially fish like salmon, get omega 3s. And I was like so against it. Like I was in my hardcore vegan phase. Like, no, I'm vegan. I'm going to do all the other things. And it worked for a little bit. And then when I lost it again, I was like, okay, food is the medicine here. Like I can't keep relying on these herbs and acupuncture. Like that's not what's going to help my body. So yeah, I finally just came to the conclusion that I did need that meat. I needed that omega 3 that my body was lacking. And it was actually from Alaskan salmon. When I was in Northern California, this woman was selling it. She said her and her son would go up to Alaska every summer and get salmon. And then she brought it back down to California. And I had this whole like ceremony. I was living with a few girls and I was like, all right, we're doing a salmon ceremony. Like I'm going to eat salmon today. And it was really just the littlest amount. I had like maybe this much salmon. I don't
Like
know,
two
like the
ounces.
correct, yeah, like 2 ounces of salmon once a week for 1 month. And that literally brought my bleed back. And it just showed me, I'm like, whoa, like my body just needs like that little bit of extra nutrients to have a healthy cycle again. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. I didn't know. I remember when you messaged me and you were kind of you were battling, you were
Hmm.
battling with I think I need to eat salmon and I don't want to, and man, I was
Oh.
praying for you. I was just like, it's so hard um to be caught up in certain things, and
Hmm.
I'm so glad that you listened to your body,
Yeah.
and did an experiment. I mean, I think experimenting is the funnest part, and seeing what works and what doesn't. And actually, we were talking earlier before I hit record, we were talking about dairy, and I've been part of the carnivore world for about 2 years now, and dairy's well liked in the carnivore world, and I can't do it. my body does not like dairy, and I don't get an
Hmm.
upset stomach or anything, but it causes a lot of inflammation in my body. And I didn't realize that until my acupuncturist, there's some point below your knee. I don't know if you know what it is, but
Hmm.
um she touched it and it hurt really bad. Like
Ooh.
she barely like poked it, but she like was feeling around underneath my knee, and I go, that hurts really bad. She goes, really? She's like, have you been eating a lot of dairy? I'm
Hmm.
like, yeah, I do actually. I eat butter, and I try to get like A2 or raw, like raw cheese and stuff. She goes, well, food has, in Chinese medicine, food has a scale of dampness, and cheese is really, really damp. And then
Hmm.
it goes raw vegetables and then pretty much everything else. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do an experiment.
Yeah.
Because like, I wasn't feeling, like I said, upset stomach, or I wasn't getting acne or anything from the dairy. So I was like, oh, I'm good, you know? And so I cut it out, and, I switched to tallow and olive oil,
Hmm.
and I've been doing coconut yogurt. And within like a couple of days, I was like feeling my knee, and I'm like, oh, I don't have any pain anymore. Okay. And then I
Wow.
added it back just to see. And, but it was like A2, uh, good grass fed yogurt,
Hmm.
raw cheese. I, my legs got so inflamed, and I was like,
Wow.
okay, so no dairy for me. And that just shows how, bio individual we are.
Hmm.
Some people can do it, and because she was explaining to me, my acupuncturist was saying that I can do dairy, and it doesn't cause any inflammation in me, but I I can't, and it sucks because I love cheese.
Aw. Yeah. And also, like, that's the really amazing thing. Like, we're all so unique. And I feel like, just the whole title thing, I feel like, yeah, like a lot of people can get lost in that. And I feel like, some people do thrive on that vegan diet. Some people do thrive on that all animal based diet. And it's like we're all so different. And it's so cool to experiment too with what works and what doesn't for our unique bodies, like just with the cheese. Like, some carnivores like really can eat the cheese and love the cheese, even if it's good, raw, A2, good quality stuff. And your body and probably a lot of other people's bodies just don't agree with it.
Yeah, labels can be dangerous.
Hmm.
You've seen that our egos can kind of get attached to them, and I mean, I for a while, well, when I went into like the carnivore diet, I was desperate and very, very sick. And um, my plan was to eventually not be carnivore anymore. So like
No.
I didn't have like this whole like tunnel vision of like this is going to be the rest of my life. Um, and I definitely used it more as like a therapeutic type of thing. And
Hmm.
I mean, it lasted 2 years, but I think that's what I needed. And now I can incorporate rice, and I can incorporate. I do more of the low tox vegetables
Hmm.
like squash. I'll do a lot of fruit. I eat so many dates.
Yeah, same. I love dates.
Dates are my favorite. I can't if I potatoes are okay, but they cause some autoimmune reactions.
Hmm.
Um, but for the most part, I'm pretty to label it more like animal based. I do eat
Hmm.
a more omnivorous diet, and of course, if I had my own land and my own garden, I would be wanting to grow my own food.
Hmm.
Yeah, but labels can be um, just so dangerous, and it can ruin our health, honestly.
Hmm. Yeah, just like the mental and emotional attachment we have to it. And yeah, I mean, you've seen me in my veganism phase, and I was really in it. Like, I really did not want to eat that salmon. And yeah, it really just can be taxing on our minds. And I think that was also a big part of my hormones, because I was so like fixated on this. And it was, work what I thought was working for me in that time.
Yeah.
And you know, I was like getting the vegan bags and the vegan pins, and like I was like totally like labeling myself like I'm a vegan. And it's like it's fine to do that, and also at least, you know, give yourself just some, what's the word? Like
Great.
relaxation, you know? Yeah, grace and compassion, you know, like it's okay. It's okay if you don't like 100% do this thing. And also too, like to go back with how you saying that's what you needed in that time. I feel like a lot of these diets like carnivore, even veganism, can be really good to help people heal and fix a lot of issues that they're having. So, I mean, there's, I feel like, a time and a place for it all.
Yeah, the Bible actually talks about being weary about extremes.
Hmm.
I think we see um, balance is definitely the best part to be, um, unless there's certain circumstances that need our attention. But with me being in school right now, we're learning about all the different fad diets and stuff, and
Hmm.
um, I mean, you can be vegan and you can like thrive, but you have to supplement. You have to
Right.
make sure that your food is paired and you're getting all the aminos, and that you're doing other things in your life that are healthy. Not
Hmm.
smoking, not drinking, not doing
Yeah.
all these things. But I've seen a lot of even older people who have resorted to the vegetarian kind of lifestyle, and their cholesterol's through the roof and they have all these
Mm.
problems. And it's like, well, I thought red meat was supposed to cause high cholesterol. I thought meat was, and it's not that. We've kind of been tricked.
We have, definitely.
We've been tricked, for sure. And I I just can't understand why people think that Oreos that are considered vegan are better for you than, like a piece of salmon or a piece of, well, luckily fish hasn't been demonized too much, but a piece of
Yeah.
red meat or something.
Hmm.
I can't wrap my brain around it.
And of course,
It's,
it all matters. Like the quality matters, you know, like
yeah.
red meat that's processed, or they're eating hormones and getting, you know, vaccines. Like, of course, that's not what you want to be eating and putting in your body.
Yeah.
That's why it's
I,
so important to know like the farmers and the local people that are hunting or sourcing it and growing it too.
yeah, it's funny. I was just looking up today the mRNA stuff going on with the cattle and the pigs, and
Mm.
like how I can really find if the meat I'm getting is like getting these things injected into them, because I don't want that. I just it there's like no escaping it. It's just
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to move. I need to move. I think I'm gonna move to Italy. And
Yes.
their food
Aw.
is their food is just amazing. I have family over there, so I could become a citizen and stuff, so it wouldn't be too hard. But I just it's almost scary sometimes. I mean, you obviously are blessed with all the local and um, people in your community that like honor
Yeah.
and respect food. And
Hmm.
I just I'm jealous of you.
Aw. Well, come out to Maui. And the beautiful thing too is, yeah, there's a lot of people that hunt here. Like the deer here are overpopulating this island, and the access deer is a big thing. People hunt here, and I have friends that that's like what they do, is they hunt the deer and they provide it to the community. And also with the pig too, like there's a ton of pigs on this island, and the pigs are eating literal fruit. They're eating fruit that falls on the ground. So like these pigs are healthy, you know, like they're eating fruit all over the island. So a lot of people also eat the pigs here, and they're all wild. They're wild deer and wild pigs.
That is so cool. It's literally a
Hmm.
picture of hunter gatherer, right? Right there.
Yeah,
What I mean,
literally.
I mean, I don't really know how Hawaii works. Like, is
Hmm.
there like a bigger like city in Hawaii, or is it pretty much all kind of jungle, tropical kind of?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, at least for Maui, um, like Oahu has the bigger city. They have like the 5-row highway lanes. Like Oahu's kind of a different scene, at least in like Honolulu, where the city is. But on the other side of that, there is more the lush, the jungleness. And here on Maui, there is like a little city. It's called Wailuku, but it's also like not, it doesn't even feel like a city to me. Like, I grew up outside of Chicago, like a big city. And this city is not, I wouldn't even say it's a city. It's more like a bigger town with like some tall buildings. Um, and of course, there's like more towns and things. And yeah, it's for the most part pretty jungly, at least on like the North Shore where I am on the east side. And, places like Kihei and Lahaina, those are more dry areas,
Mm.
like considering where the fire was. And yeah, so it's very diverse, at least on Maui. Like we have dry places, jungly places, and yeah, you kind of can like pick and choose. And even like upcountry too, that's more dry zone, but it's also still beautiful and it's less moldy and better air quality. So it's really cool to see like the different environments just on this one island.
Yeah, I saw your you posted a video about the mold in your car. Was it your car?
Yeah, so as you probably know, we were in Florida for 3 months with my family, and this is also the rainy season, at least those past 3 months, and we're kind of just exiting the rainy season, which I'm so happy about. But yeah, it's definitely not ideal to leave your car in the jungle during the rainy season.
Yeah, no.
And yeah, the mold is a big issue here. So you definitely got to be careful with it, as you probably know. And yeah, we came back, which we knew we were going to come back to this anyways. Yeah, to the
Mm.
car being very moldy. And this car was gifted to us. So it wasn't like a huge thing, but also like it's our car right now. So it's not ideal to be sitting and driving in a moldy car. But yeah, we really like scrubbed it and really did our best to get all of it out, which for the majority, it's mostly out. We also ozonated it and dehumidified it. So yeah, we're really just now trying to like air it out and let the sun do its work.
Yeah, I think the difference between, like Costa Rica and Hawaii and stuff like that with the mold is that
Mm-hmm.
I feel like your houses are more ventilated. I feel like maybe the structures are built a little bit different than here in the
Of
States where
course,
it's like
yeah.
all crammed and like there's no airflow. Um,
Mm-hmm.
at least what I've seen, pictures of people in Costa Rica, like their houses are pretty much open.
Yeah,
And
yeah, definitely.
so it's like the mold doesn't really feel threatened. It doesn't really produce the mycotoxins as much. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously you still want to be careful because
Right.
mold is not fun. So
Mm-hmm.
you're in Hawaii now, but and then you were in Florida for a little bit, but where were you before that?
Yeah, so this past summer we were in Alaska. And we know this lady here from Maui where she has 100 acres of land out in Alaska near like Glacier View. It's called Sheep Mountain. It's like 2 hours, I would say maybe like northeast of Anchorage. So more like up in the mountains. But Alaska's so big. Like when we looked at the map, like we were just in this little bubble of Alaska. But yeah, went to Alaska and we got to stay partially in this lady's guest cabin that she has, where her and her husband that passed away used to farm and grow their own food. And it's fully off grid, her land. And we had to harvest our own water from, she has a spring that runs right in the middle of her land, which was really amazing. And we would bathe in the sauna and we would heat up our water with the fire. So we would put like a big pot of water on the fire, let that get hot, and then we would start the sauna. And we literally would do like a cat bath in the sauna to shower while we were there. Which I'd
That is
actually never
so
shared any
cool.
of this, so you probably don't know that at all.
No, I want to hear all about it. You were there. How long were you there for?
It was about 3 months. We were there like mid-July, and then we came back to Maui. I would say like beginning of October. We came back here.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
um you fished a lot. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, which is, I was never a fisher. I never learned how to fish when I was younger. And like I said, I was vegan for a bit. And my partner, Rala, he grew up fishing. He loves fishing. And he went to Alaska last summer before we met. And went there to salmon fish specifically. So then we did that together. And yeah, we salmon fished, which was so beautiful to learn how to do. And it's just so fun. Like it was such a unique experience. And there's like millions of salmon that run through those rivers and streams. And it was really cool to see and be able to harvest that medicine, and that was a big start of my journey with my cycle was Alaskan salmon specifically. So then to go there and get to learn how to fish and harvest them and do all that was really cool. And so once we, harvested them, we would go back to this cabin and we would smoke them. And then we would pressure can them with the pressure canners. They would last like 30 plus years. So we brought back a ton of this jarred salmon that we smoked and canned and harvested all ourselves.
What does the fishing process look like for the salmon?
Like how you fish them or
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So it is it's not just like regular fishing where you have a bait and because the salmon actually don't eat. So you have to kind of like snag them is what they say. You have to like put your reel in and kind of like do that, like kind of like pull it a little bit. And you have to, like the rules are, there was so many rules that I had no idea about, but the rule is you have to get them in their mouth. Even though they don't eat, you still have to catch them in their mouth or at least like in their head for it to count as like your fish. You have to put it away, which I just find so silly. But anyways, yeah, you have to kind of like snag them and catch them in their mouth. So that was also really fun to see people doing. And even when I wasn't fishing, like my partner Rala, he did a lot more of the fishing than I did. But it was just so fun to watch. Like people would get so excited. And then, like when you have your salmon on the hook, you would also have like a netter. So you would want to like net the salmon because they're fighters. Like those guys like are wiggling and obviously they don't want to be caught. So they're
Yeah.
really doing their best to fight off that reel.
Yeah, they're kind of mean looking, aren't they? They got
um,
sharp teeth, right?
So that's actually, I learned that that's how they look when they get older. So they're actually like really pretty. They're more of like this silvery bluish color when they're young. Not like young, but like middle age, which that's when you want to catch them when they're like mature.
Mhm.
And then when they get older, they turn like a green, reddish color. And that's when they get the teeth. So when they get older, they kind of like look more like zombie like, which you don't want to catch them when they look like that because then their
Yeah.
flesh isn't as good. It's more like not rotten, but it's just not as fresh. And so like the more mature you get them, their flesh is more like that bright red color that you want.
Wow, that's interesting. Look, I'm
Hmm.
learning so much. This is
Yeah, I mean, I learned all this just from going to Alaska this past summer.
how so on average, how many like pounds of salmon do you think you caught and canned?
Oh, yeah. Well, we canned a lot. Um, my partner Raleigh, he was really into the fishing. And something cool about the summers in Alaska is the sun is out until like 2 a.m. So you have a lot of daylight, and the limit is 6 salmon a day per person. So I mean, you can't catch salmon all day, but
Right.
he would want to get his limit like every day he could, just because he loves it and he wanted, to have more of that medicine. And yeah, so we probably canned, I think we counted like 400 jars of salmon.
Wow.
And they were like I feel like the 2 ounce jars, I believe, like the smaller mason jars. I forget what size that is. But yeah, we canned, and it's a long process. It's, we had to debone the fish, and then we had
Yeah.
to kind of like cut them up in little slices, and then we had to brine them. So we would brine them in a bucket with other like seasonings for like 8 hours. So we would do that like overnight, maybe longer too, like 8 to 12 hours. We would do it, and then we would like lay them all out and kind of like dry them out, and then we would put them in the smoker, and then we'd have to take them out of the smoker and put them in the jars, and then pressure can it. So it was a long process to do it
Wow.
all, but it was definitely worth it. And now we have all this medicine to share and also have for ourselves for years. Yeah.
So what did you also get the mushrooms in Alaska? Where were you foraging for mushrooms?
Yeah, so we got the chaga. We harvested a lot of chaga when we were in Alaska, and chaga is a super medicinal mushroom that has so many beneficial medicinal qualities to it. So yeah, we harvested a lot of chaga and we powdered it ourselves, and we also made extract or dual extract of the chaga. And yeah, we also harvested a lot of herbs and just really wanted to use all the beautiful medicines that Alaska has. And it's so abundant there. Like there's so much. So we also, we don't over harvest or anything. We're really cautious and mindful of how much we're harvesting in a certain area and where we're harvesting and things. So yeah, it was really beautiful to go there and to gather all this medicine to bring back and make other goodies with it.
So what have you made from the chaga and the herbs?
Yeah, so the chaga specifically, we made a powder with it so people can make like a tea for themselves with it. And then also the extract we have. So then people, it's like use it like a tincture, like kind of like a medicine when you're feeling sick or you need like an extra immune boost. And yeah, chaga is really good for supporting so many things. Like the list can go on, but it's been known to really help people with cancer and to really help people with just like autoimmune diseases and like fungal diseases, and just it supports so many things within us.
Yeah, I see a lot of the kind of like the one a day powder supplement cream
Mm-hmm.
stuff. It usually has some type of chaga or some type of mushroom in it. And
Right.
I've got some mushroom powder that I use every once in a while, but it's like a protein thing. But
Mm-hmm.
I would love to get some of what you have. So, so you actually have like a storefront now, right? And you're
Yeah.
providing that to your community.
Yes. So we made a website. It's called divineunity.us. And we also have products like facial oils, balms and salves and body butters for, the skin and also the hair. So yeah, it's really beautiful. And that's been a big intention of ours, is to make products with, herbs and things that we harvest and or can grow or also source locally and organically. And yeah, we used a lot of the Alaska herbs to make these products. And at least right now, most of our products are with the Alaska herbs. And it's going to be forever changing with wherever we are because we want to source locally. So we're hopefully going to be having more Maui herbs now in our new products. And we're planning actually to go back to Alaska this summer too. So I'm sure similar products will still be going. And yeah, it's been really fun and beautiful journey.
That's so cool. I was gonna ask if you were gonna go back to Alaska because you could have like a seasonal kind of, we're back with the tasters from Alaska. Oh, that is so, I'm so proud of you. That is
Thank
so
you.
awesome.
Yeah.
Um, so I wanted to, you don't have to talk about this. But
Hmm.
something happened while you were in Alaska,
Yes.
with the fires in Maui. Can you talk a little bit
Hmm.
about that?
Yeah. I mean, just the whole fire situation here was very devastating. And we were in Alaska when it happened. And, luckily all of our friends that we do know out there were safe and got out. And we have friends that their houses did burn down. But like I said, luckily they got out. And my partner's truck, his work truck, because he's a coconut harvester here and does tree work. So he has a work truck, or had a work truck, and it was being stored at our friend's shop in Lahaina, which was right off of Main Street where like the main fires were located. And yeah, his truck got burned in this guy's whole shop. This guy also built tiny houses, and he's an elder guy. He's maybe in his 60s, 70s, but he's, very in shape, very healthy, and he had to jump into the ocean to survive. Once we finally talked to him and heard the story, like we had no idea what was, because we didn't hear from him for a few weeks once we heard about the fires, and
Oh my
we kind of
gosh.
had an idea that his shop and his truck were going to be burnt down just from the location of it all. And yeah, after a few weeks, we finally heard back from the guy, and he said, yeah, his whole shop and obviously the truck was burnt, and he had to jump into the ocean to survive the fires.
That is so devastating. How do you know how long he had to like survive in the ocean and kind of like,
Yeah, I don't know the full story, but I do know he
yeah.
was injured. Like he was in the hospital and getting cared for from his friends for a little bit
Oh wow.
after, and, just the lung damage and yeah, so many toxins in the air from everything burning. Yeah, it's pretty wild what has happened over there, and it's also been really beautiful to see the community here really come together. Like the people of not just Maui but Hawaii have really stepped in and really supported and helped the people like way more than the government has, which has been really cool to see.
Sounds about right,
Yeah,
unfortunately. I think,
unfortunately.
yeah, I think, that's their goal was to divide us, but a lot of people, I don't think they're not going to let it
Hmm.
happen.
No,
And,
especially Hawaiians. They fight. Like they're here for each other. Like those guys aren't giving up.
yeah, I don't think I've ever met a native Hawaiian. Um, they probably all just stay in Hawaii.
For the majority, yeah, I have met people that have been born and raised here and they haven't left. And I've
Yeah.
also met people that have been born and raised here and they also are eager to leave, but then they come back and they're like, I wish I never left.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely I wanna come visit you one day. For
Yes,
sure.
please. I would love for
Yes.
you to come visit.
Oh, that'd be so fun to harvest coconuts
Hmm.
and just are you near the water or like how does that
Yeah, so
work?
where we're staying right now is in Haiku. But yeah, we're pretty close. There's not like a beach really over here, but we're maybe 15 minutes from a beach we can swim at.
Oh.
Hmm.
I'll have to like Google. I'm not good with geography, so I'm gonna have to like look it up and
Yeah.
Google it and stuff. So I wanted to ask you, how did you and Rala meet, and
Mm.
what was that like? Uh,
Yes.
Watching him harvest coconuts.
Yes, I love this story so much and also has to do with coconuts. So before we met, I was also really into coconuts and I was in Costa Rica and yeah, just fell in love with coconuts and eating coconuts, drinking coconuts. So when I came to Maui, I was just, meeting friends and people, and my friends were having this Thanksgiving gathering, and they were doing like a plus one thing, and I got invited by my friend, he got invited by his friend, and I was going to make one of my cheesecakes. I do like these raw cheesecakes, and I usually use coconut milk, and I just had like a canned coconut milk and he had this whole bowl of coconut meat and he's like, what do I do with this coconut meat? And I was like, oh my gosh, let's make a cheesecake together. Like I need coconut milk and all I have is this can, but I would love to use fresh coconut meat. So yeah, and no intention or no like feeling yet was formed. It was just like so natural, like, hey, let's make this cake together. And he was like, yeah, cool, let's go. So we just started making this cheesecake together. He was making the coconut milk and I was like doing the other things. And we just had such a blast making this cake. And it was just so fun. We were like dancing with the blender and just having such a good time. And kind of after that, it was just, we were nonstop together. It was like that cake, we call it the love cake now because it just really brought us together. And honestly, it was one of my favorite cheesecakes I've made was that cake.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm like tearing up. This is
Aw.
oh man, that is so beautiful. I definitely would love an organic relationship like that to where,
Yeah.
the Lord just brings two people together and it just works. And it's
Hmm.
just it's crazy that he enjoys fishing salmon too, and like you have
Right.
that past with the salmon, and
Yeah.
that's incredible. So
Hmm.
I was gonna ask you, well, I'm gonna put your website and stuff in the show notes.
Thank you.
So if anybody would like to see what Sabrina has to offer, it's Divinity. No, what is it? I'm sorry.
Divine unity. Yeah. Divine
Okay.
unity. Hmm.
Divineunity.us. Is that
Hmm.
what? Okay. I'll put that in the show notes. You guys can take a look at her shop, and I might get something. Do you ship out of like how does that all work? How does the shipping and stuff work?
Yeah. So when someone orders from our website, we'll just ship it wherever you are. And yeah, we can ship from Maui and yeah, it's pretty affordable too, the shipping. So it's been nice to be able to share with people wherever they are.
That's awesome. I've been seeing everybody's loving like the reviews. I mean, it's astounding. And
Yeah, it's really amazing, and we're really excited to start doing the farmers markets here again. we used to do them and sell coconut products. And that's what my partner Rala was doing. He is the coconut guy at this farmer's market. So we just kind of came together, and then I started making like coconut milks, and I did make like pies with coconut milk and things like that at the market. And now we just have this whole new twist of our products that we make too.
That is so awesome. Oh, that is so cool. Well, I'll ask you this question because I ask all my interviews this question. What is one thing that you
Hmm.
would give to somebody that they can take back control of their health?
Ooh, like give advice or give like a
Yeah, so
thing.
like a tip,
Okay.
like,
Hmm.
listen to your body, or like don't listen to labels, stuff like that.
Right. Ooh, yeah, I would just say to really tune into your own body and not get caught up in what other people are doing, especially with social media. There's so many things out there and so many people, saying what's right, what's wrong, this or that. And just like come back to yourself and come back to what's true for you. And, also experiment with what foods do work, what foods don't work. And kind of just have fun, explore the options, like there's so many beautiful foods out there. And I would just say, yeah, really listen to your own body and your cues, like really take note of when you do feel inflamed, or when you do feel like those digestive issues, or when you do feel really good after something you ate. Like listen to all that and just keep going with what your body's feeling.
That is awesome. I I was thinking about like where you live, and I'm a firm believer in like eating seasonally and obviously getting stuff locally as it's grown. But I mean, is Maui is pretty much, is it similar to Florida? Like there's no seasons. It's just kind of like it rains and it's hot and that's it.
I mean, there is a rainy season, which is like kind of
Right.
like the winter time, which we're coming
Right.
out of that now. But yeah, I would really say that's it. There's a winter season or this rainy season, and then kind of the rest. It gets really hot in the summer specifically.
Does like coconuts and other fruit still grow during that season, or is
Oh
there like,
yeah.
so yeah, it's just all year, right?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I
Okay.
even noticed just from our 3 months of not being here during the rainy season, things are so much more green and lush. I'm like, whoa, like things are a lot more alive, like because all this rain just like livened everything up.
It's like the opposite of winter.
Right.
Like, well, I mean, in Florida, we would get, a cold snap every now and then, but we'd still,
Hmm.
like, I had what are they called? Clementine tree and a grapefruit tree in my backyard. And I mean, they were pretty much fine. If it got below a certain, degree, we'd have to cover them. But here
Hmm.
in North Carolina, I mean, everything's just dead. Not dead, but
Yeah.
the leaves have fallen off. It's all brown and stuff. So I couldn't imagine trying to eat a watermelon during the winter because
Hmm.
I don't think my body would want that during that time. I feel like it would want more of a hearty meal, like squash and some
Right.
deer that we just hunted, and or maybe like apples that were just falling off the tree during fall and stuff. So I've definitely, with my diet, I've been doing that. So like in the spring I'll start, incorporating more like zucchinis and more like different fruits, and then I'll kind of work my way through the season. So
Hmm.
I'm constantly not, getting the same thing over and over again. There was actually, I just watched, I think maybe it was a podcast I listened to, and it would talk about like food sensitivities, and um that people who, like, let's say for example you went gluten free and now you're eating all this almond flour or
Hmm.
whatever, you can actually now form a sensitivity to that. So it's like
Ooh.
you, yeah, like because you took that out and now everything you eat is almond, and now it your body can be like, okay, it's like too much. I've seen that with
Right.
eggs a lot too. Like people who eat
Hmm.
eggs for a long time, they end up getting a sensitivity, they cut it out,
Interesting.
and then they can introduce the eggs back in and then they're fine. So I think we were built to change with the seasons.
I agree. Yeah.
And but and like I said, in Maui it's just fruit all year round.
Yes, yes,
But
which
that's the
I'm really
environment.
blessed. Right.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing. It's like, when we were in Alaska, we weren't eating all the fruit. And we were in Alaska in the summer and, there's a lot of wild berries, which we were eating. And I think that's also really important is to see the environment and what foods grow there. Like, yeah, in Maui, there is a lot more fruit, but somewhere maybe like North Carolina, yeah, it's different. And even the lady we stayed with in Alaska, she would can a lot of her like beets. Like she had her own garden and she would can everything. So she would have food for the later seasons.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Oh,
hmm
I definitely, that's my dream. And I think people who, I mean, it's definitely hard. Like, um, people are like, oh, you don't want to do it once you start doing it. I'm like, I enjoy the process. Like, I want to plant something and harvest it and see it
hmm
grow and be able to like do that for myself and my family and friends and um
Yeah.
just be able to get back in touch with the earth and how we're supposed to work the soil and um it's such a beautiful process and I'm so glad that you are just having a blast doing what you're doing. Do you have any
Yeah.
other
Thank
final
you.
words or any questions or anything else to say?
Yeah, I'm just really happy that I was able to be a part of this podcast with you and share what I shared. And hopefully, this podcast will help some people and inspire some people to maybe live more in this way or connect more to their bodies and nature and what's around them.
Yeah, maybe we'll have a big group trip to Alaska.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. No, it would be so fun. Alaska is in the summer. It's such a good time. I haven't
Yeah.
experienced a winter. So for any Alaskans that maybe listen to this, like, I don't know what it's like in other seasons, but the summer is a good time.
All right. Well, I will let you go and thank you so much for being on here. You're such a sweet friend and I do miss you
Mm.
even though we were only together for about a year and uh yeah. So we'll talk soon and thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
All
Aloha.
right.